afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of Psych, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to 1 vs 1 on the ever-lovely Arnhem checkpoint. Between the north, we got Zyswen fighting here for the Soviet Union for the 314th Rifle Division, tasked with holding this part of the front against the Germans, and this time fighting for Dezman, the Oberkommando West, Germany, and the Fallschirm Panzerdivision Hermann Göring, with Spare Corps, Scavenge, and Luftwaffe Ground Forces Triple Infantry versus Partisan Tactics, Mechanized Support, and Guard Motor with Triple Maxim. We got a support company aside here for Zyswen, so that's probably going to involve Maxims. Huge surprise there. We got a bit of barbed wire up, though he's not finishing. Of course, once the balance patch hits at the end of March, that's going to be sorted out, so you can't just do that. Actually has to finish it for once. But Maxim on the way for Zyswen. Kubank start here for Dezman, allowing to seize a bit of territory there for Das Vaterland, with Volkskongress following up there for Dezman. The Hermann Göring Fallschirm Panzerdivision had a very, very long history of, in one way or the other, being, Hermann Göring's private forces. Started out as a specific police unit, was later made into a flak unit, then sort of an actual sort of Panzer Grenadier unit. That would have to be a sort of thing in between. I can't remember it. We fought in Italy and North Africa. First North Africa, then Italy, and then formed into a Panzer Division, and then finally into a full Panzer Corps. So a lot there happening just for Hermann Göring's private little Panzer unit. He was a very vain man. Got Maxim Lingham versus Sturm Pioneers hiding here behind the fences there. We got Volkswagen Engineers here, so some aggressive action in the early game while the Kubanks moving eastwards. More Volkswagen on the way there for Dezman. Second Maxim on the way there for Zyswen, as he had small machine gun firepower there to his men. Engineers sneak about there and quickly falling into the house. We got Sturm Pioneers still nearby, under the watchful gaze of the Maxim crews, trying to outmaneuver here with a bit of sharper moving there. In this case, seems to be working out there against it. Those guns are still pretty close there, and there we go. He does force it off there. Sharp infantry maneuvers there from Dezman, saves the day for now. More like saves the moment, not the day. Second Maxim almost done there for Zyswen. Points there being seized. Also, fun fact, there existed sort of a Soviet defense formation known as the Fortified Region, which was primarily composed of Maxims and anti-tank guns. Their job was basically to just deflect any sort of Soviet attack, but just bog them down in a series amount of support weapons. They had very little to no infantry. They were just machine gun crews and anti-tank gun crews. They're all fun detail. You don't hear so much about them, actually. But then again, there are a lot of military information you don't hear so much about. It's all about, mostly tanks and occasionally a few other things. Sturm is being blasted by the Maxim. Second Maxim moving up there. Zyswen has actually lost engineer squads. He's very low in units at the moment. He's also gone for partisan doctrine. So that's certainly a bit of an interesting start here. Could be planning on utilizing the partisans in any sort of heavy manner. That would be unique to say the least. Unique, and there we go. Partisans available here. Will he pop them? What will he do? There we go, we do have the first partisan squad out here, quickly pursuing the Volkskongress supported by the Maxim here. There it goes, press the to retreat because they're not going to last long. Rest of the party as they pull forward with their PPS H41s and, mowing down any Germans a bit too close. They're going for the point here. Maxim setting up there. We got a truck on the way there for Dezman with 3 Volkskongress want to jump on a Kubank squad here. Need to be careful here, taking quite a bit of fire there from the Volkskongress inside the house. Keep in mind, partisans are not exactly what called good infantry. They're sort of good for surprise attacks, small bursts, but in any sort of prolonged engagement they're going to die because they have very low received accuracy, meaning they actually take more damage than most other infantry. There you go, another partisan squad there, rise, push it back, the Volkskongress is there. He might quite trample into heavy cover and then pop off a grenade here. Second Maxim setting up there, and we got the Kuban studies grabbing more territory here so far. Zyswen start. It's resulting in him not having a lot of map control there versus Dezman. I mean, it's definitely not your usual sort of build order, double engineer style Maxims into partisans. That, stands out quite a bit there. Kuban sitting about here. Other partisans there reinforcing. So we can sort of trying to grab the centre. And meanwhile, we got here mechanized regiment from Dezman. An interesting choice considering this partisans. That does mean partisan tank hunters, which could very quickly, cause a mess for his looks or his Puma for that matter. Yeah, basic infantry, the partisans are not. And it's a pretty risky gamble here. Again, they can do a lot of damage. That's sort of the potential of the partisans. They sort of can rather punch a lot higher. But again, sort of regular infantry engagement, then a lot of troubles. You're rather relying a lot more on trickery, ambushes, and sort of hard flanks rather than, actual straight-up engagement, because, again, they will die very fast. These are not, Panzer Grenadiers, Fallschirmjägers, Rangers, or whatever. These are just a bunch of guys with some submachine guns and grenades. So they are a unit you have to be careful with. And meanwhile, though, Dezman aggressively harassing with the Kuban. He's doing as much as he can to deny any resources to Zyswen. Very sharp move. That's only going to be more room there to actually push ahead with his own looks, and that way gain an arm advantage. And we got Luftwaffe ground forces, meaning there could be Fallschirmjägers versus partisans. That's only going to give an edge there, I think, to Dezman. Unless Zyswen really sort of gets some sharp uses out there, the partisans. You should definitely consider using some grenades, oh, not grenades, mines with them. Mines. There you go, 3 partisan squads here for the 314th. Rifle Division, got a big infantry push up the east side, and there we go, Maximilian engaging the Kubelwagen. But he's going to grab the fuel point and turn it German before Zyswen here can do anything about it. Nice work there, and there's actually a small chance. Oh, cool. The Kubelwagen's doing pretty well, though. Maximilian can't last forever, though. And I'm sure Dezman would love it if he could. Third maximum away there for Zyswen. I mean, this is a pretty unique build order there for Zyswen. This is a pretty unique build order. No doubt about that. Jump has this part again, rushing up, then again they're going to take an awful lot of fire. Creeping up there. Grenade might have a small chance. Loading the engagement sort of in their favour, but problem is they're just too low on health and they are rapidly sent running. Big push up here, continued sandbags there. We got more parts to ramming, supported by Maxim. Rushing straight into each other. That's actually a bad idea for the folks. Up close the parts and can't beat. What? Okay, I briefly thought he was throwing an incendiary grenade at his own men there. Just briefly looked for a brief moment here that Dezman had gone completely and utterly bonkers. But he hadn't, thankfully. But there you go, folks. Just push back. He actually got a wipe then again. It does hunt again. The partisans, again, while not very durable, they pack a heavy punch. Again, utilized cleverly, they can do a lot to your opponent. But again, the trick is actually doing that. And they're going to take part of that. Got the Kubelwagen, finishing out that monstrosity there, and just removing some of the pressure. Jumper's also looking right here. All of a sudden, Dezman is taking heavy damage here from Zyswen, who is suddenly swinging back very hard, despite again relying largely on partisans. But there you go. The vengeance of Dezman has arrived. The Lux is here. Have no fear, unless you're Russian, in which case you have our permission to soil yourselves before we murder you. Up here, troops reinforcing. He's going to need a Lux there. Not a Lux, a field gunner. He's going to need a lot more parts, I think, to have a good chance versus that one. Unless Dezman uses it in a really, really terrible way. But there you go. Lux flanking in there. Autocannon blasting away. Flanking in the Maxim. Good work there. Though once the patch hits, it's going to be a bit more useful versus units inside building compared to what it is now, which isn't that effective. Jump on here, so reinforcing. Got a truck number 2 out. There's probably going to be a battle group headquarters there for Dezman. And the Hermann Göring Fallschirmpanzer Division. Which was actually one of the few sort of non-SS units, so actually drew sort of an SS uniform, or specifically camouflage uniforms on purpose. Though, of course, regular army units as the war progressed, but probably also gotten some simply because, they just get whatever they could get. But for the Göring Fallschirmpanzer is sort of more normal, then again they would actually sort of mix in some Waffen-SS uniforms besides the usual mix of otherwise Luftwaffe camouflage and of course Fallschirmjäger camouflage, which was of course their own patterns, by the way. The troops moving about here, grabbing points left and right. Need to fix up the Lux. Got the Maxim rolling up here in the west. And they're going to use partisans here versus the Volksgrenadiers. Shots fired. Quickly pushed back. And over here we got a Maxim being spotted here by the Volksgrenadiers. No assault rifles, though, of course, can pop an incendiary grenade there. A quick Brandhand grenade to light things on fire. Looks good to go. Got some partisans here. Thinking then ambush mode, but Lux is going to have to disagree with that one in a rather rude manner by shooting them. And that's going to be a full wipe against Zyswen. There we go. Unit annihilate. But again, he's actually been able to just using partisans and Maxims gain a large amount of map control versus Dezman. But again, that was partly against those slightly unfortunate situations where suddenly lost a lot of units and others suffered heavy damage. But still, it is kind of impressive, though. Again, this is using partisans and Maxims. I mean, this is, again, I think a strategy to an extent Zyswen's been practicing. Though, again, it is rather high risk. And had, Dezman, not gone for Lux, it probably would have been a lot more effective. Of course, a lot more anti-tank parts could cause some trouble, or maybe some kind of light armor, like say T-70 here. H-6 would also be a good choice here. All the way we got the Lux there moving about, patrolling the roads for rations. Maxim moving ahead here, catching the Fultons out in the open. Shots fired, we got the looks moving up here, back at base though. We got medics ready here for Dezman. Maxim they're getting blasted by the looks. Auto-cannon fire just tearing them apart in a matter of seconds. Also, a fun fact about the Hammer-going Falchion Panzer Division, despite being rated as an elite Panzer Division, it never actually got half-tracks. Its troop was always truck-mounted, which I think is actually a very interesting thing, because usually, one of the ways you could usually tell about if a unit was elite was, it would at least at half-tracks, it would certainly have more than the normal. But for the Hammer-going, that was not the case. It was only until it expanded into a full Panzer Corps, in which case an attached battalion, also that created battalion within the Corps, the Hammer-going Panzerfusilier, Abteilung or so there, was actually given half-tracks fully there. Sort of battalion of those chaps. But that was rather it. It might actually been only a company level unit, I can't remember, but certainly that was basically it. And that's one of those fun things there. Party's moving up here, looks firing away, got Fultons fighting out in the open, Maxim sending out here as well. Noting Barbie actually uses spy network again to keep track of where Dezman is moving his units. Holy crap, that was terrible. Moving his units. In this case, it also allows him to keep track of where the hell is the light tank a bit more efficiently. There you go, Panzer connects there with the looks. The Panzer need to retreat. German pioneers there being pushed back by engineers, and we got the T-7 on the way there for Zyswen. So a bit of light armor on the way there to support his men. We got a light infantry gun out here for Dezman to provide some needed support, and he's going for the Academy for these options at this point, expecting some kind of armor from Zyswen. And the 3rd and 14th Rifle Division, there you go. Party's getting annihilated here by the looks. And here points being secured. T-70 almost done there for Zyswen. Cut off there being secured as well. So a lot of pressure going on here, and there's sort of a lot of back and forth between these two sides as they sort of, either one gets the upper hand for a brief moment before then either get countered or they make a mistake. Parts are creeping up. He's trying to get creep up, and there you go. But in this case, they actually lack, the grenade to really pull off the surprise. In this case, this is definitely not working out there for Zyswen. Here, Maximus successfully pushes back the Fultons going to do squad. T-7 running ahead. And we got some engineers versus Fultons in the east. We got repair pioneers up as well here for Dezman to ensure he doesn't have to manage that so much. He can afford to lose his German pioneers, of course he prefer not to, but it also means he just needs to move the looks back there, so there's overall less management, which frees him up for other important things. Which is actually just important, if not more important. There you go, the Fulton squad, they're wiped by the T-70, 45mm gun, making very short work of them. Quite a loss there, they even tried to get off the Panzerfaust. T-70 quickly moving on, they're ignoring the looks, they're instead going for other soft targets it can annihilate. Folks are standing about here. Reinforcements going on. Okay, Norfolk Lands are really good at the T-70. Pop self-repair there to avoid annihilation. That is very good there for him. Zyswen's lost quite a few parts as well, though he's certainly starting to get pretty low manpower-wise as well. So he does need to be careful about that. And otherwise, Dezman could be very quickly moving in. There you go, we've got a second anti-tank part squad here rank, but in this case, of course, it doesn't matter. There's hedges in the way. And obviously, he's not going to move right too close there. And now we got Falchi makers as well here, elite infantry arriving with the FG-42s. We got Fulton being pushed back by Maxim, Carl 4 there being shot by another Maxim. Maxim there wiped, that's going to hurt their Zyswen, but there you go, we got a lot of rockets there against the looks, almost taking it out there, but it is hightailing away there on the road and escaping the grasp of the partisans. So very nice work there by Dezman. A nice attempt there by Zyswen, but ultimately didn't quite work out there. Also cruised the Maxim with partisans. There you go, Falchi mega assault against the Maxim, pops of a grenade. Blows up quite a few, there we go, we got the T-70 joining in though. Doesn't get any kills, but certainly lands some rather critical damage. But that of course can be fixed by the medics. T-70 lands another excellent kill. Look at this, Sergei. I'm killing them with my gun. It is the state's gun. Stalin is killing them. You're just doing it for him. He gets all the credit. Maxim needs to be careful. There you go. And again, we can see that says Zyswen again is back in control. The T-70 really loves just, push back Dezman in that regard. I'm a bit surprised Dezman not trying to go for a Puma, so try and contain it that way. But really, a T-70 is a huge thing for the Soviets, and just, allow them to really dominate a map if you're not careful. Maxim wipe, that's a definite poor move by Zyswen. I have no idea what he's doing so close to the opponent's base with a Max from there. And that's pretty much just going to be grabbed right there by Dezman. Might even get a second Max, and that's going to be absolutely disastrous for Zyswen. Absolutely disastrous. Yeah, that was definitely some mistakes, I think. Poundy underestimating the lethality of the Lux. Well, it isn't quite as much as the T-70. It is still something that really quickly hurt you if you're not careful. Got almost light infantry gun here, but it's right in front like him. They go pop self-repair and escapes like Kedden after he got the Lux moving in, but right in front of the anti-tank partisans. Veterans hit too. Taking quite a few hits over there. Go. They're too slow in shooting, and there we go. The Lux escapes, continues the pursuit here. Other anti-tank partisans moving up. There we go. First one arriving, close. And there we go. Gets a good hit, but there we go. We got fighting ready to support. They are in the open now. They're taking heavy concentrated fire there from the Germans. Need to retreat. And, oh, talk about close. That was definitely Zyswen pushing his luck way too far. And he's back again, having a small force, having to hold a large amount of territory there. And the problem is the one he sort of really has to rely on now to do it is the T-70. And that one is, heavily damaged. Can't actually fight. Now he's just throwing everything else in the line away of Dezman, suffering pretty egregious losses. And now he's actually rushing in the T-70. They're just sort of trying to contain his opponent a bit. They're high-risk move there. Getting several Fallschirmjäger kills there. And he gets the wipe. He gets the wipe. Quickly pops back here. You bastard. Mine down there, grabbing points here. Troops being healed, been forced. T-70 shifting away. We got a Maxim. There's still nothing to be done with. We got more parties out here for Zyswen as he tried to throw as many wrenches as possible into Dezman's works to slow him down, except mines. That's really the only wrench he seems very reluctant to throw in the general direction of Dezman. He pushes in the T-70 again. He is relentless. He pushes that T-70 beyond any capacity of not actually able to, withstand, but he does so. More rushing going on there. He's still not going for light armor. He's actually planning to take up, in which case he needs to do it fast. When he's going for his T-34, he needs to get them out fast because otherwise Dezman's going to catch up and he's going to do it in a pretty nasty manner. So that's not really something there that Zyswen can afford to sort of bite in and fiddle his thumbs with. It looks like quite dinged up. Halfway though to Veteran 3. That's pretty good. Movement here. Dezman and Hammond Göring quickly regaining control of the map. Got a bit of Maxim shooting against the Volksgrenadiers. T-70 fixed up, Maxim covering up, causing problems there for Zyswen, the 314th Rifle Division, which apparently is having to make do on partisans to fill the frontline infantry role. And there we go, we got the Schwerpanzer quarters up, troops pinned down, sending a rather aggressive Schwerpanzer quarters there, head Dezman. He's moving in there, close again, the Sturm Pioneers there. Partisans pinned to the ground like insects. Maxim the next target. Mine goes off there, and the engineer's almost wiped. Problem is he's fighting from the sideways, can't really do a lot of damage. There we go, we got the Lux to the rescue though. T-70 quickly falling back. Partisans hiding up. There goes just, I think, attacking the ground if he can. The other way though, got the cough point. There you go, Pantrick misses the Lux. T-70 gets a few more hits. Zyswen's probably still in map control despite everything. And again, the T-70 is really having a large role in that. Again, his sheer mobility and firepower makes it difficult for Dezman to make any breakout, particularly because he's taking up instead of just going for Puma. I mean, a Puma probably could enter this fight a lot faster, but he's very intent on taking up. In this case, possibly worth, Zyswen might be rushing for something big. In theory, he can, but he just hasn't, which is a bit silly. By the way, we got the Schwerpanzer quarters up there for Dezman. Could go for some orbital Soldaten. He could also go for Fallschirmjägers. Mines, I think, would be a pretty good choice here for Dezman, though, and the Hammond Göring. Bars and Maxim there could probably do with some healing back at base. And there you go, it is the mechanized armor company for Zyswen. But again, he could have won up much sooner. He could have tanks out much sooner, which again could allow him to pressure Dezman much harder, returns. So in this regard, both players, I think, missing an opportunity to, kick the other one pretty hard over the shins. There you go, more T-75 in this case, getting Panzerfausted. Small victory there for Dezman. Truck proved to be an insurmountable obstacle for the T-70, allowing the Volkskrieger to escape. We got the looks of them moving in, perhaps to finish off the target. And Maxim opening up from inside the house, not healed up, but oh, actually it is. Looks like it, but no, it says there it's healed up, but it's clear it isn't. How weird. Oh, we got the mechanized armor company. We can go for T-34-76 right away. We got the T-70 pursuing the looks. We even got marked vehicle on it just to increase the T-70 chances of doing it. It's rare to see marked vehicle being used in that context. Both fighter vehicles around there. T-70 rolling back. Vet-73. Maxim there, dead, collapsed in a house of rubble. It's time here for the mid-game analysis. In terms of damage, it is Dezman ahead there, and kills wise. He's killed a lot more, obviously. Again, the vast majority of Zyswen's forces have been parted again. They die like flies. I mean, again, if, say, Dezman, you've been playing Wehrmacht with Ostrom, again, he'd not, say, going for penal troops again. We're probably looking like something like this again, except the Germans have been bleeding up. But again, since he's going for so many partisans, again, the casualties are just going to be naturally higher. Throwing the looks then, they're so not helping. In terms of army value, the Zyswen's falling behind. Resource lot-wise, they're pretty close. But again, points held, I mean, the story's a bit different there. Again, I mean, it's very much been Zyswen's sort of been slowly more and more in control. But again, it has been, at a very high cost. I mean, many partisans have died to make these gains for Zyswen. Many partisans. And right now, what we need to do is bring up the tanks again. You should have had them out like minutes ago. That's the thing again. In theory, again, this could work much better if you just were to rush out tanks faster. If you, say, again, had a few minutes out sooner T-34s, he could be doing a lot more damage to, Dezman, possibly beat him right then and there. But with this, instead, there's a small chance of Dezman getting back. Though it's still going to take him ages to get out anything to counter them. Even a Jagdpanzer is, going to be quite a bit. Then in the meanwhile, the Zyswen could go for anything between 2 and 3 T-34s in the same time he's able to finally get out one Jagdpanzer. But even then, a sooner T-34 I think could have a much bigger effect there for Zyswen. Otherwise, you should consider mines, you're using the partisans and the likes, and maybe consider Special Life Command just to sneak in some penal troopers, as more combat-ready infantry than the partisans. For Dezman, more infantry, rush out some armor. In this case, I'll probably have to recommend the Jagdpanzer. The Panzerforce not going to work too well against a swarm of T-34s, in which case he'd better off with the Panther. But Jagdpanzer he could be forced to. If Zyswen just gets enough T-34s again, he's going to have to go for it because otherwise he's going to get murdered before he can get out a Panther. More Fallschirmjägers Oberstein, though, would be a good choice there for Dezman. Just more elite infantry. That way, further just push down against, the partisans that Zyswen are utilizing aggressively versus Dezman. A bit more aggressive harassment to slow down the fuel income for Zyswen so he can't, pump out too many tanks against him unless he goes for fuel cache, which of course is also a good idea there for Zyswen to consider. But let us return to the fight and see what happens next here. Fallschirmjägers moving up. The FT-42s there raking into the partisans, tearing them apart.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Bit of fun in the west. Flare goes off, kills a Sturm Pioneer. Engineers rushing straight to the Fallschirmjägers, they're taking quite a bit of damage. But there you go, we got the partisan machine gun supporting the mighty engineers. And there you go, partisan flanking in, routing the Fallschirmjägers there. We got double T-34s on for Zyswen. He can go for a lot of tanks now, and it's going to take some time before Dezman can go for anything else. Looks they're being repaired, veteran fleet fighting continues here. Engineers, or Sturm Pilots, they're fighting against the partisans, who can't really do much because they're partisan tank hunters. And those chaps aren't really what you'd call panzers. They technically be panzer pioneers, but that still does make them panzers. Oh dear, they're bunched up in the curve. Go quick incendiary grenade there, does a lot of damage. Could actually get the Maxim there, and he gets it. He wipes the Maxim. Bit of a loss there for Zyswen, but soon he'll have a definite advantage here as long as he uses correctly. There's the T-34s. Because again, Dezman's, you've not really got a lot that can deal with that at the moment. Particularly not again if Zyswen uses T-34s intelligently. But there you go, Maximum crew, but his quick retreat there, partisan wing in again. And he's got a huge fuel advantage there. He's getting close to 3 times as much fuel as Dezman at the moment. That's only going to further slow down any routes, even the Jagdpanzer, and again means Zyswen, in fact, can go for even more T-34s. So this is the sort of situation where it sort of can just become a vicious circle here against Dezman. if he's not careful. But there you go, looks engaged. You've got the T-54 moving up, shooting and missing. Sergei, hit! Hit, Sergei! Use the aiming thing. Misses again, though the looks. It's greased lightning there, rapidly escaping the T-34-76. And it goes straight into the Schwerpanzer quarters. They're forced to fall back. Like Kedmeff's moving up as well. Second T-34 ready. He's actually moving in the looks against the T-34. I'm wondering if Dezman is doing it on purpose, just taunt Zyswen. Yo, what are you gonna do, Herr Russian Panzer Man?
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
So there you go, 2 T-34-76s ready. And these got Ponce being caught there by the Fallschirmjägers, and the west a bit of harassment there as well. T-34 got engaging the maximum side of the house there, trying to deny Dezman here. Lynch point of his central defences. Walls collapsing under the heavy fire of the T-34-76s, maximum being pushed out, routed like vagabonds, ejected from an abandoned house. Go to the next target. Look, don't know, I can't remember exactly look like it. And there he goes, going to try and crush them. There you go, getting excellent hits. They're almost wiping the entire full squad. Got a Panzerfaust off. There's definitely a chance here of being a wipe. Oh dear. Wipe there as well. Again, the 2 T-34 suddenly showing their true strength here against Dezman. His infantry very much exposed against the T-34s who just keep it up. Maximum then they're supporting, but the full stick very much was being wiped out. Be careful of that. Dezman 4 sect. Workshook. Got a third T-34 in there for Zyswen. Again, Dezman is far away from any armoured solutions as well. The best he got is double the Kedmeffers. T-34's rolling away, perhaps realised there might be something on the way. And the east we got to do him. Pioneers was the T-70. Almost got a wipe there. Oh dear. Annihilated. Another loss in the match. There you go. T-34 goes in after the looks here. Right behind everything. Needs to be careful of maneuvering here like Kedmeffers. Get the T-70 could maybe do it. There you go. The Kedmeffer lands a hit. T-34 I think just needs to get away. There. Just enough spaces. It could cause huge problems there for Zyswen dealing with them. We got another partner squad out somewhere. Getting suppressed here. That did not work. There you go. Grenade off. Got one like Kedmeffer. T-70 with a damaged engine. Like Kedmeffer wiped. Oh dear. And we got another one on the way there. 3 T-34s, T-70, though a lot of its tanks are heavily damaged. But still, he just annihilated his anti-tank weapons. But the crews, he hasn't destroyed them. Again, if he were to do that, would be huge. There you go, almost got the Fallschirmjägers as well. Wiped the Fallschirmjäger squad. Lost the partner unit there. Another T-34 in looks like roaming about. Maximum then a lot of trouble. We got air support called in it, calling in a Fallschirmjäger squad right behind on the car point. A Kedmeffer knocked out, Fallschirmjägers blasting away in futile effort. And they just need to get out of there before they get wiped. Zyswen unleashing the armoured fist of Stalin against Dezman, who's got a few options. Again, he's going to have to go for Jagdpanzer or Panther. The Panzer IV is going to get knocked out easily in this case. And he goes for the Jagdpanzer, the Panzer IV 70.
Forces are attempting to capture our territory.
V for Volmak. There was also one made by Alkit, as the chaps who made the Stug. But for whatever reason, they made a much bigger sort of casement or sort of superstructure for it, which meant it had a much bigger profile, which rather ruined a bit of the purpose of the Jagdpanzer. So that one was primarily used as a tank replacement in units that couldn't get the proper tanks. So instead, they sort of get the bigger version of the Jagdpanzer. No fun fact there. Parts in trouble in the east over the Lux and the Fallschirmjäger. So while he's losing in the west, he's really trying to make some efforts in the east. Try to buy time until the T-34s hit again. And that's 3 T-34s also vets in the 3 T-70. Got a wipe there though. Small victory for Dezman and the Hammond Göring. Victory points wise, so it's quite behind. Jagdpanzer almost done though. Almost. And there we go. Rolling out there with its high velocity 70mm gun. Which by the way had its muzzle brake removed because again the low profile of the tank resulted in the gun being so close to the ground that if it had a muzzle brake on, it would actually kick up so much dust it would reveal the position of the Jagdpanzer right away, for starters. Plus of course it's a bit difficult to see through it. Of course that was also one of the weaknesses of the Panzerfaust, I believe. It just had such a huge backblast again. Once you fired it, you'd rather get away, you're in position. But there you go, Yak Panther opening up the T-34 from 6 with a high velocity gun. Same gun bar as the Panther in-game, it's treated as being less effective, but in reality it would have been same effectiveness really, I think. That is highly accurate and able to penetrate a lot of armour. They might have had a slightly low rate of fire perhaps due to crampness, but I don't know. But we got CoH2 out here for size, for an interesting choice here. I guess he's going to try and bombard here, but again, he's back in control. Again, due to just getting a lot of tanks up, because he's able to take up faster than Dezman. Again, due to the parts. I mean, this is a pretty unique strategy for Zyswen, and I think what's most surprising about it is kind of actually working well. And you wouldn't think it because, again, the Partizans are terrible infantry, but because of the T-70, it has been heavily supported because the T-70 is just such a menace. I mean, if you had not had a T-70, it wouldn't have worked. Aircraft shot down there by the Schwerpanzer quarters. Looks like expecting an assault here in the west. Is moving the Yak Panzer there. Katyusha firing away. There we go. Yep, T-34 tank. Yak Panzer comes up. Luke's firing away. Folks might get off a Panzer first here. Damn, it's engine there. Almost got one T-34 here. Another hit there. One more hit to go. One more hit to go. T-34 rushing straight. Fully much trying to outmaneuver it here, but they get folks that's covering the flank, so they could get off a Panzer first there. There you go, landing another hit. There we go, Panzer first ready. Oh dear, almost got it there, almost got it. But in this case, he managed to turn it around in such a way that he prevents the T-34 from getting behind. T-7 moving up as well. There we go, another hit. No penetrates. Got looks moving up here. Panzer first off. Another penetrating hit there. And there we go. T-34 down. T-7 that continues in this case. He pops self-repair. And tries to escape through his opponent's space. Madness. Meanwhile, we got a T-34 firing in the centre. Looks like he's kind of forgotten about it. Almost got the T-7 here. He's escaping through the east. Oh, main gun lost. T-34 knocked out in the centre. Was it the Yak Panzer? No, Fightmakers, I think, with the Panzer first hit the trick. We got Panzer there arriving. Panzer there covering the retreat of the T-70. Needs to get off an anti-tank grenade. Anti-tank grenade. Heavy armor losses all of a sudden here for Zyswen. Again, another huge swing. And now Dezman's about to lose his looks. He lost it. The T-70 lives. Though barely. On the other hand, Dezman soon to get a T-34-76 in his hands. And we got the Yak Panzer still there. More fighting makes there arriving. Finding over the western victory point here.
T-34 ready for combat.
Sturmpani is hard at work at the T-34.
Sector under attack.
There we go, two T-34s out there for Zyswen, rolling west at high speed. That could give the Fightmakers on the west a bit of a problem. There's no immediate anti-tank support, or for that matter, tank support, at least yet. There you go, Fightmakers engaged here with the T-34s. Also for the Panzerfaust, I'm guessing it's the Panzerfaust 6 was sort of the most common model which had an effective range of 60 meters. That's basically what the number meant, you know, Panzerfaust 100 meters. There's also the Panzerfaust 150 which had 150, so very, very few numbers in usage. That one also had a slightly more spiky warhead, but there you go, T-34 doing a lot of damage to the T-34. Parts supporting here. Yak Panzer moving up support there with his high velocity gun. There you go, shots fired. And he's going to ram the T-34 with his own T-34. A heroic sacrifice by the German crew. But we're not Russians. Don't do it, Helmut. Nein. Kaboom. Right round the Yak Panzer gets it. T-34 flanked around the Yak Panzer, but it's damaging. The Yak Panzer should be able to reverse move. It just, main gun destroyed. There's going to be free experience there for the Yak Panzer. Almost hitting it eventually too, though. We still got the T-34, though, causing havoc in the centre there. Partizans white, Fightmakers getting off. Damaged engine on the T-70. Yak Panzer moving up. They gained 22. Almost got the T-70 there. And there you go. T-70 goes down. The menace is finally gone. Got the max from their back with the partisans taking fire from the light infantry gun.
There are local partisans ready to join. The enemy has taken our
And
supply
party are fighting against the Foxes and these there to tank plans of the veteran fleet, but they're still not got assault rifles. We got the partisans rolling up here against the Foxmakers. Quick grenade there, geballte Ladung, but right there, pushed them into the range of the Schwer Panzer, causing even the grenade doesn't work out. It works out. That might just save the Foxmaker, who's down to so little health there. I mean, one shot there could kill him, but they're suppressed. They can't. Of course, all it takes the Major, I think, to reload the weapons. Phew, he's managed to have slightly stabilized it here at the 31 victory point mark. Though it's pretty damn close there versus Zyswen, who can actually go for another T-34 soon. Of course, now he's facing off against a Veteran T2 Jagdpanzer. We got here Spy Network trying to ascertain again the positions of Dezman's forces, and maybe find out some kind of way you can sort of launch perhaps a final attack that sort of gets him the last victory points he needs. It's going to be tricky though. It's going to be really tricky. Whatever advantage he has is going to be very small, and again largely due to the victory points, because now he's got a lot of Fallschirmjägers, meaning any of the partisans will not have much of a chance to do straight up fight, in particular versus against the Veteran T2 Fallschirmjägers there. More partisans arriving. You need to try and deal with the Storm Pioneers, but they're still on health. It's not going to look pretty. Grabbing the point there with another partisan squad. He could consider laying down some mines around it. And similarly, Dezman could also consider the mines. He's laying them down here. In this case, he's worried about the partisans rushing out, going for the victory point. But in this case, he's even popping Fallschirmjägers into the house. Jagdpanzer moving ahead there, surely and swiftly. Jagdpanzers, however, generally only part of Panzer Division's tank destroyer battalions. They're actually, I think, not issued to any sort of independent tank destroyer battalions. Hetzers actually went to then. Hetzers, on the other hand, were not attached to Panzer Divisions. Interestingly enough, as well, there to note. All partisans. He sure does love them, and he's certainly committed to them. And there you go, again, tries to for an ambush. In this case, was quite Pentington. In this case, allowing the Fallschirmjägers to quickly overwhelm them. So many partisans now being rushed towards the centre here. One last partisan hoorah from Zyswen. No tanks, though. They'd probably help him sort of control the flanks a bit better. Of course, he needs to be careful there with the Jagdpanzer, but that's about it. And the Jagdpanzer can only be in one spot at a time. Rushing up here. He's actually staying to camouflage, doing it under Dezman's nose there. Oh, they got spotted. There you go. Grenade off. Might have been the trigger. Landed on the max in there. 28 points left. Gonna be close here. Gonna be very close. Got partisans straight into the Fallschirmjägers here. Veterans too. The Panzers, though, are made very short work off there. I mean, attacking into a Fallschirmjäger position there is complete suicide. So that did not work out well at all for Zyswen. Again, he's so close, but it's maybe causing him to make a few miscalculations again by not going for any tanks. Could just maybe give him the edge there for the infantry in any engagement here. And again, he's just calling in so many partisans. It's just partisan spam here at the end for Zyswen, I think. But here in the west as well, rushing in the news, we've got Fallschirmjäger Storm Pioneers nearby. And again, no armoured support. We got the Jagdpanzer moving eastwards. Dezman is clearly what, that Zyswen's going to try and reinforce with armour, but it's just Zyswen's got none. So there's no real armour to support Zyswen, at least not for the time being. I mean, he could still go for them. But otherwise, he's just suffering loss. It's just down out, in fact, to partisans and a Maxim. There's nothing else left for Zyswen. Nothing else. There you go, he's going for a T-70. Cheaper than the T-34s on 6. Units still being wiped down to 3 partisan squads now here versus Dezman and the Hammond Göring, who's now going for a Panther 4. He's in a much better position now. He's actually got a good lead, so going for the Panther 4 there certainly makes a lot more sense for Dezman now. Jagdpanzer rolling back. And with the Panther 4, he might just be able to fully seal the fight here. Because, I mean, it's got plenty of Fallschirmjäger, it's got Yak Panzers. When it gets to the Panzer IVs, well, they can pretty much, I think, deal with anything Zyswen can throw at him. I mean, even now he's doing a pretty good job, but again, something like the T-70 could, in theory, throw him off there, because if he uses them smartly enough, they can sort of, try and dodge the Yak Panzer when they arrive, so just shift from victory point to victory point and just sort of slowly just chip away at the victory point, splitting him out that way. But again, the Panzer IV can react a lot better to a roaming T-70 than the Yak Panzer can. There's definitely a problem there. And there you go. Panzer IV out for Dezman. Fallschirmjägers are firing from the T-70 light tank. Shots fired. Most of them hitting a wreck Raketenwerfer. Saving the Fallschirmjägers from a lot of damage. But he's getting too close to the Fallschirmjäger. They're going to get Panzer fast. We've got more parts now. You're ping right behind the Fallschirmjägers. Rushing past with their unit. We got more parts rushing back. Rushing forth. Grenades off against the Fallschirmjäger house. There you go. We got the Yak Panzer moving up. Panzer IV's moving in here. The last assault. There you go. Mine goes off. One more time with the Partisans. Getting pretty ugly here, and there we go, Partisans wiped, T-70 knocked out, got the victory point rendered neutral, but that's about it. Partisan unit wiped out, Partisans also going to get annihilated. Casualties are swiftly piling up here for Zyswen. On this, I think this one's got the fight here. Yeah, it's just down to one partisan scored, one maximum with this. Zyswen surrenders. Victory for Dezman. Pretty close at times, but ultimately was able to pull through despite, I would say, a pretty unique strategy from Zyswen, which sort of worked out for a lot of interesting things. The problem was, though, he was too slow in getting out the T-34s for starters, and then sort of when it came to the Yak Panzer, sort of could have done with a better flank rather than just trying to engage it head on, which rather cost him a lot there against Dezman. Also more mines and maybe some infantry sort of being snuck in later on. But otherwise, pretty interesting. But again, Dezman, I think, put up a very effective defense and sort of slowly but surely choked the ever-living snuff out of Zyswen in that way, slowly but surely won the fight. I mean, pretty close there, pretty close. And certainly quite a tricky thing there. I mean, an earlier Puma, I think, could have landed there with its T-70, could also won the game pretty fast there, but there you go. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, one, subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. If not, send in a replay and some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers. Thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.